Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about protective styling. So protective style is essentially any style that's going to tuck away the ends of your hair. So the ends of your hair are the oldest part of your hair, and therefore they're more prone to become dry, brittle, half splits, and eventually become damaged if they're not taken care of correctly. So some people may actually think that their hair isn't growing, but it's a length retention issue rather than your hair actually isn't growing. So that's why it's important to actually tuck away the ends of your hair to keep them well moisturized and to help with retaining length. So a protective style can be done on your natural hair, or you may want to decide to actually have extensions. So there are a variety of protective styles that you can choose. So you can have flat twists, two-strand twists, cornrows, single plaits, single braids, roll tuck and pin styles, which are a personal favorite of mine, or you may actually want to use braided extensions, Senegalese twists. There are numerous things you can do with your hair and get creative when using protective styling. So there's several benefits to protective styling. One of them is that it's actually low maintenance. So once you have a style in your hair that you can have in for a period of time, you don't actually have to worry in the mornings about styling your hair constantly. Your hair is set for a particular period of time, let's say 2 weeks for example, and it makes it easier to carry on with other things and manage your time better. Another thing is that it promotes a low maintenance regimen. So by this I mean that you're not constantly daily styling your hair, which can actually tend towards your hair becoming a bit damaged because you're constantly playing with it and styling it excessively. Another benefit is that it actually helps to promote length retention. By hiding away your ends, they're actually not getting snagged on, let's say, jewelry you may be wearing or clothing. The material from certain clothing and scarves and stuff can actually suck the moisture from your ends and can be pretty bad for the overall health of your hair. So before you actually choose a protective style, there are several questions you have to ask yourself. How long am I going to keep this style in? How am I going to install this style? And how would this style be maintained? So I'm first going to talk about what you do before you actually install the protective style. So what I do is that I would shampoo my hair and then I would deep condition it. And I tend to use a protein conditioning treatment as well as a moisture treatment. And bear in mind that all protein treatments must be followed up by a moisturizing treatment afterwards. And then I may decide if I want to actually stretch my hair using the banding method, which is a heatless method, or I may actually decide to blow dry my hair. So if you decide to use heat, it's very important that you use a heat protectant to protect the strands of your hair from the actual heat application process. So I tend to use a hair serum, depending on how thick your hair strands are. If you have finer strands, you may want to use a heat protectant that's in the form of a spray. If you have thicker, more coarse strands, then a hair serum is much better for you. So after you've actually prepared your hair for protective styling, then you actually want to decide on how your hair is going to be, how your protective style is going to be installed. So if you're quite creative and you're really good with hair and you can do your own hair, you may choose to actually do that, which I always think is better because you are more likely to know your hair best. And if you're tender-headed, then you will be able to provide extra care when dealing with your hair strands. I go to the salon to get my hair done, so I'll just show you this protective style that I'm actually wearing today. So this is a cornrow updo. You guys may pronounce it Cornrows, but in the Caribbean we pronounce it cornrows. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. But this is basically the protective style that I will be using for the next 2 weeks. You must choose someone who is knowledgeable in natural hair or knowledgeable in styling or taking care of natural hair. This will save you a lot of grief or heartache in the long run, trust me. So make sure you get to know your stylist. If you're doing your own hair, then that's fine, you'll know your hair best. But if you're going to a stylist or a salon to get your hair done, then ask a stylist about what they know about natural hair. How are they intending to actually do your hair? If you're going there to get the full process done from shampoo straight through to the actual extensions or braided hairstyle or cornrows or whatever you plan to do, ask them about the entire process. How are they going to care for your hair? How are they going to treat your hair along each step of the way? You can even ask the stylist for a portfolio to see what they're capable of, or even ask for reviews from other clients. You know, talk to people who've actually been to that salon. So one of the ways you can tell if a salon is quite good or not with dealing with natural hair is how they actually go through the detangling process. So ask them about how are they planning to detangle your hair, what tools are they going to use, and that can give you a hint of, is this the right stylist for me or is this not? Should I try another salon? So the actual installations process, you want to make sure your hair is not tightly pulled into this particular style that you're doing. For example, this style. So you can check the scalp, make sure that there are no small bumps. Just make sure that if they're pulling the hair too tightly, that you let them know, so that the edges of your hair around the hairline, so the front of your hair and the back of the nape of your hair, basically that they're not being tugged on, because that can lead to breakage and traction alopecia, and we don't want that to happen. When your hair is in a protective style, it's very important in the maintenance process to moisturize your hair. You should still take care of your hair regardless of what style it is, and this is the reason why I prefer to actually do styles on my own natural hair, because it's still out and I have easy access to my scalp and to my hair. So for cornrow styles, or styles on your own natural hair, or even if you have braided extensions, I would recommend getting a leave-in conditioner or moisturizer that's in a spray form. So this, for example, is one of my leave-ins that I use when my hair is all tucked away, and this is the Motion's Nourish leave-in conditioner. But any leave-in conditioner that's in a spritz form that's to your liking can actually be used. So this is quite easy, has a nozzle, you can just shake it and just add it to your hair. I do this twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, just to make sure that my hair is well moisturized. And I would also take some oil, like a light oil, like grapeseed oil, just a tiny bit, put it in my hands and actually just smooth it over my hair, over the cornrows, just to seal in that moisture. Otherwise it'll just evaporate and there'll be no point. So moisture is the key. With any protective style, moisture is the key. If your hair is in a sewing extension, it could be a bit more difficult to actually access your scalp, depending on how the actual sewing is done. Especially if you have a weaving cap, it is going to be really difficult to access your scalp. But I would recommend to actually go to the salon that did your installation and get them to professionally shampoo your scalp when you're having your weave extensions, if that's what you choose to do, and to also make sure that they moisturize your scalp underneath. If you have on braided extensions, then once again you can just take the braids and use a spray and moisturize your hair within the actual braided fibers that you're using. So the last part of the protective styling process is actually the takedown. So there's some styles that you can actually take down on your own. If it's done on your own natural hair, then by all means go ahead and actually take that style down. For example, the style that I'm actually rocking at the moment. But if you have a sewing weave, I would recommend going back to the stylist or the salon that actually did your hair to get your extensions taken down. And this is just to prevent you from actually cutting your hair unwillingly, unknowingly, and to also make sure that your hair is taken down correctly. And I would recommend never take down your hair when you're tired, or if you actually have no idea how to take down your hair. Always seek help if you're uncertain, and if you're tired, then wait for another day or do it the next day. After you've actually taken the style down, then be prepared to actually detangle your hair, and this is very important. If you've left your hair in for a number of weeks, then you would have to expect that there's going to be a lot of shed hair mixed in with the actual strands of your hair that you need to detangle. So this is another reason why you shouldn't actually take down your protective style when you're tired. So make sure that you plan a time that you're going to take it down, preferably when you have a lot of time to be able to factor in detangling, and then going through your entire wash day regimen, which would be shampooing your hair, cleansing your scalp, conditioning and deconditioning your hair. I always would recommend that you detangle your hair thoroughly before you actually put water on it. If you just take out your extensions, your braids, and you just go to the shower to wash your hair straight afterwards, then this can encourage matting and a lot of tangles. And this is something that you can avoid simply by detangling your hair thoroughly and then washing your hair afterwards.